Good morning, folks. Good morning. It's another beautiful day, and so we're going to serve you up a spiritual breakfast from Our Daily Bread. So let's get into it, shall we? Today's Bible reading for Friday, October 25th, 2024, is taken from the book of Jonah, chapter 2, verses 1 through 10. Let's see. Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly, and he said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me out of the belly of hell. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice. For thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the seas, and the floods compassed me about. All thy billows and thy waves passed over me. Then I said, I am cast out of thy sight, yet I will look again towards thy holy temple. The waters compassed me about, even to the soul. The depth closed me around about. The weeds were wrapped around my head. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains, and the earth with her bars was about me forever. Yet hast thou brought up my life from corruption, O Lord my God. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came in unto thee, unto thy holy temple. They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy, but I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pray that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land. Now that is some heavy word right there, folks. Be it symbolism or actual thing, that's a matter of discussion. But I like to think that it was indeed one of those deals where it could have been very real. But let's not get into a theological debate and just get back into the spiritual breakfast from Our Daily Bread. So here's it is. The article today entitled Running from God is written by Kristen Holmberg. Julie and Liz kayaked off the coast of California scouting for humpback whales. Humpbacks are known for being active near the surface, making them easy to spot. The two women got to the surprise of their life when one surfaced directly underneath them. An onlooker caught footage of their encounter that showed the large mouth of the whale dwarfing the women in their kayaks. After briefly going underwater, the women escaped unharmed. Their experience offers perspective on the biblical account of the prophet Jonah being swallowed by a, quote, huge fish. Jonah 1:17. God had instructed him to preach to the Ninevites, but because they'd rejected God, Jonah didn't feel they were worthy of his forgiveness. Instead of obeying, he ran away and took passage on a ship. God sent a dangerous storm, and he was thrown overboard. God provided a way to preserve Jonah from certain death on the high seas, sparing him the far worse consequences of his actions. Jonah, quote, called to the Lord, and God listened, verse 2:2. Chapter 2, verse 2. After Jonah admitted his wrongdoing and expressed his praise and acknowledgement of God's goodness, he was, at his command, expelled from the fish onto dry land. By God's grace, when we acknowledge our sin and express faith in Jesus Christ and Jesus' sacrifice, we're spared the spiritual death we deserve and experience new life through him. Have you ever had that moment where God's telling you to do something and you don't feel much like doing it, and you do all that you can to avoid it? Well, that was one of those times. Jonah ran away from God. He disobeyed him, as we often do. Now, granted, our triumphant return, or the circumstances in which we are put into, may not always be as dramatic as Jonah's, but they are still very real. The verse in Psalm 23, most of you are familiar with it. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He maketh me lie down. Now, for those of you that are unfamiliar with the customs of shepherds, one of the things that they do, and it is true what the Bible says, they could have 100 sheep, but one go astray, he will leave the 99 and go find that one. But eventually, when that sheep keeps wandering off, the shepherd will take that sheep's leg over his, breaking it, making it lie down. Whenever the shepherd and the flock moves, the shepherd must carry that lamb, and the lamb learns to trust in the shepherd. That is symbolic for the relationship that we have with the Lord. Sometimes, through our own stupidity, God allows our legs to break, and we must remain still and trust in Him no matter where we go. When He moves, He carries us with Him. They're like the footprints. Even there's times where even you might not be at fault. Now, I'm not going to be a Job's comforter. Now, there's times that He'll put you in a situation where it seems like you're being punished, but in reality, it's just a chance for you to exercise your faith. So I assure you, no matter what it is, be it your own stupidity from a battle of your own making, or an act of God to which He might be teaching you a lesson, or using your circumstances, or whatever the case might be, to strengthen your faith, always, always, always trust in the Lord. If you're not sure, simply ask. Simply say, Lord, I do not know what I've done, if I did anything at all, but I just want you to know, from my heart of hearts, I trust you. Take the reins, Lord. Lead on. What can you teach me today? What can I learn from the feet of Jesus today? That's how simple it is. Humbling yourself under the Lord, even if it's not the Lord's correction. So remember this, folks. You find yourself, this is what Paul states, I find whatever state that I'm in to be content, for this is the will of God concerning me. Contentment, gratitude, long-suffering, meditating on the Word night and day. If you flood your mind with thoughts of God and keep the pressure of the Word in your heart equal to the pressure of the world around you, it'll never overtake you. That's the lesson of the anglerfish. The depths, the 30,000 pounds of PSI and all that, the dark depths far beyond where the sun can reach. The pressure outside is the same as the pressure inside. That's why you don't see deep sea fish in any kind of aquarium, because we can't artificially regulate that kind of pressure. Just something to think about, folks. Just something to think about. So, I'll leave you with this final word. Though you may stare death in the face, I pray all you see is God's grace. And until we meet again, stay safe, stay blessed. As always, stay in the shadow of the Almighty. This is your old Uncle Jason, signing off.